record the class of still 5 students, just like last time. Okay, so I graded your midterm, but you all probably are very happy with your grades, right? Because it's higher than you expected to be, right? Because I didn't grade. I didn't grade the last question, the cash flow statement, question. So even your cash flow statement, Tristan, you made some mistakes. Yeah, because the notes payable should be financing cash flows. Notes payable are not operating cash flows. Yeah, you counted as part of the operating cash flows. Yeah.
But even still.
Yeah. So what I plan to do is, so I didn't grade that part. So each question of the multiple choice question is 3.3. For each multiple choice question, 3.3 points each one. So I count down how many mistakes you made, and then that's your score for your. I also grade your homework, and if I got it. So if I didn't get it or it's not complete, some of you submit the homework to me, it's not complete, so I didn't grade it. So if you don't see like grades for your homework and it should be something wrong, you can rework on it. I'll consider like some deductions, but not too much. But still get it done. Yeah. Also, what I plan to do is we will revisit the subject of cash flow statement, and then I will add questions for that part in the final. And the final will be an in-class exam, and next week on Wednesday. Next week is our last week, so it will be next week, right? Next week on Wednesday, and we will have our final, but in class and also closed book, closed notes, but you can have your computer. So it's not take-home exam anymore because we have time this time. Yeah. And I'll post a study guide maybe by Monday, this weekend, and I'll work on the study guide, and I'll post it. What is the master, right? To me, it went too slow sometimes. I feel like if it's on Thursday, and I feel it's such a long semester, but once it's Monday, I feel it's too quick. So it's mixed. I know you guys probably don't want to sit here. You guys want to be outside, right? Anyhow, so I post the videos of the previous chapters. So here, and then I forgot to turn on the microphone, so there's no sound for the first part and second part of chapter 7's videos, but last class should be fine. I'm recording now for this new chapter. Yeah, Tristan, and you're not here. Jonathan, right? Jonathan. Yeah, no, Chris, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not here. So we studied just to bring you guys up. But anyhow, we studied chapter 8, the stock pricing, last time. So we worked the homework together, and there's a calculator. And what we have done in class, Jonathan has been the one like leading the whole class to do the homework last time, and Andrea also. Oh no, it's a girl. Forgot her name. Oh, Jenna, she's the one. Yeah, she's the one who's helping us. Jenna is the one helping us. Anyhow, so any questions? Even though we don't have lots of people for today. So for today, we study chapter 10. So the plan is we study chapter 10 this time, and we study chapter 9 for next class. And for Monday class, we'll do a review, and we'll study the cash flow statement and work on an exercise of chapter 12. It's also like cash flow statement, and we're working on projections for the company's cash flows, and this is chapter 12. It's similar, so we'll revisit it, and I'll put questions in this topic related to this topic in the exam. And that could be the challenge, because I hear you guys told me the cash flow statement you tried over and over, but you still like give up, right?
What was that? Was that right? Zero? It being zero, right?
No, it's not zero.
Shouldn't have been zero?
No. I don't have the correct answer, but it's not zero. You're supposed, when we revisit the subject, we'll work on that question together. But anyhow, I didn't put the number there. I didn't put it there. It doesn't mean it's zero.
Oh, it's just blank.
Yeah, I just.
When I added it up, they both matched though. I don't know.
No.
And I did it.
Anyhow, let's do that, and it will be a challenge for that one. WCC is a challenge also, because we need to use what we have learned so far and in one subject. So today's should be not that difficult. It's called capital budgeting. So anybody, for example, had some problems when you are trying just to figure out what's the best option, right? For example, you are trying just to figure out which class to take, or you're trying just to make the decision where to go for spring break, right? So how you have a kind of way of thinking logically and rationally to pick the best answer for you, right? When it's time for you to make the decision for where to go for spring break. So how you think about this subject, how you make the decision for questions like that.
How much we want to spend.
How much you want to spend, right? How much enjoyment you can get from that, right? Because for a company, the company always faces similar options. Like they got several options for example, new product lines or new strategies for some business plans. It's always the time for the CFOs to make the decision for which way they should go, right? Because it's capital budgeting. Because they have limited resources, limited capital, limited human personnel, and they have limited spaces to take like multiple projects at the same time. So the CFO has to be the responsible person to make the decision which one to choose from, right? Because it's a capital budgeting problem. So what do you think? For example, Walmart has an option to open a new store near JU and another one near UNF. So you think, how can the managers pick the locations for the new Walmart store? So they should consider what? Consider how much revenues they can generate from each store, right? And then they try to choose the one that makes the most profits for them, right? The same thing for all the projects, and the CFOs needs to consider the basic rule would be whichever can generate the most of the profits, then that one should be the ideal one. Now they should choose this one, right? Yeah, so now question goes to how to calculate the profits for the future projects. Not the current ones, but the future projects. So what they can do, for example, Walmart can calculate the profits near JU in the next 10 years. And for example, they plan to close it after 10 years of operation. And then they can calculate similarly the profits if the location is near UNF, right? And then they also consider the cost. The cost will be much higher near UNF than here. Consider revenue and cost, and consider the profits from each location in the next 10 years. And then they can figure out which one is the most profitable one by calculating what? NPV, net present value, remember? We learned net present value. Figure out how much money can generate every year, and then figure out how much is the cost to raise the capital to open the project, and then figure out NPV, right? NPV, and then if NPV of JU project is much higher than NPV of the UNF project, then the CEO can make a decision to open the store near JU. Right, so that's how to do that. So it's pretty easy, right? So just like cash flows or profits will be given to you for the project, for the options for the project. Now it's your decision to make is, shall we accept this project or shall we just let it go, right? So it's that easy. And so all you need to do is just to calculate, the first approach is to do what? Just to calculate the NPV, net present value. If, for example, JU project has higher NPV than UNF project, then JU's is better. Because NPV is better, it means it's worth, the value is more valuable. It worth more if it's open near JU, right? So you can give it a try here. Let's just use this one to calculate NPV, for example. Use 10%. This is one approach. The project costs you 20,000, and then the project will make that much of the cash flow. You can consider the cash flow as the profit every year in the next 5 years. And now, is this a good project or not? So first thing we can do, we can calculate the NPV. NPV positive, and that means this project will generate more profits than the cost. But since the profits, the cash flows in this question, the cash flows are in the future years. So we need to compare the profits or the cash flows for its present value, compare with its present cost. So we can do that way, calculate the NPV. Use 10%. Remember, the NPV is a function. You can use, over here, I had several calculators here. So for our cost, the first one is enough. No. We need to know, NPV, IR, and payback. For our cost, we need to calculate the NPV, IR, and payback. For other classes, we also did discount payback, but we don't need the other calculators, but we need the first one. If you do this one, see what you can do is you can just put the cash flow down, and cost of capital, this is just return or the rate, and then you can calculate the NPV, IRR, and payback, and you can use Excel to confirm your answer. Yes, this is a calculator created by the guy. He's teaching at the college, not at JU. So the frequency is this cash flow happen how many times? Since our example, cash flows are all different each year, so the frequency is just one. Okay, it's 10%. And then this is a cash flow, the initial cash flow should be negative because the company need to spend the money to start over. So the cash flow at year 0 should be negative. And from year 1 to year 5, you put down the number and calculate. The NPV, you can use NPV in Excel. Let's do that. Use NPV in Excel to calculate it. IRR, you can use IRR in Excel to calculate it. IRR is also a command, but payback is not. Let's try NPV in Excel and see how much. You can create a table. So this is what's given. Now let's do MPV, IRR. Now we can use Excel to calculate the MPV. MPV is a function. Use the MPV function, and you can say no need for ABS in the front. Just in MPV rate is 10%, and cash flow has to be from year 1s to year 5s. And this. Or just MPV 10%. And so you can do this way. You see, so you can create a table or use MPV, but however, if you use MPV function and the first input should be year 1's cash flow. Don't start with year 0's cash flow. This is MPV. So this project will be bringing in $2,456 bring to the firm. So this is, what's your conclusion? This is a good project, right? So MPV, this is positive. So good project. It's a good one. Yeah, because this company will be getting wealthier by $2,456. So it's a good thing. You should take this project. The profits generated will be higher than the cost. IRR. So you can also use this, and but IRR is a command. And now I'll explain and make a guess what this IRR is.
Internal rate of revenue.
In what? No. Internal rate of return. Internal rate of return, yeah. Well, let's use this IR equals to 14. Let's use this one. Let's calculate the MPV at this rate, 14.55%, and then cash flow. And let's see how much you think it's MPV should be. Usually we want to know like break even, right? Because MPV is how much? Let's say I was using. Because this is just estimation. If I use this instead, so you see, because it's just estimation. So we see plug in. So that's what this IRR means. You use IRR function to find this IRR. At that IRR rate, what happens to MPV? MPV is 0. MPV is 0. So IRR is just now we're using, think about this 10% discount rate as cost of capital. Walmart want to open store, so Walmart needs to raise capital by issuing debt and issuing stocks. So there is a cost of capital for them. It's not like they have lots of money sit there. It's just like they want to get the capital by borrowing them. So there is a cost of capital. So this IRR, you can just think about, the firm will break even at this cost of capital. So if it costs the firm more to raise capital than this IRR rate, then MPV will be negative. So you can just think the company can raise capital lower than this rate, then the project is profitable. It's a good one. So you can think this IRR as the highest cost of capital. If the firm can raise capital lower than this rate, then that means MPV will be positive, and that's a good project. If it costs the company more to raise the capital than this IRR rate, then the MPV will be negative. The company should let it go. So the rule is IRR rate, you think this is cost of capital. MPV is 0. If the R less than R, then NPV would be positive. R greater than IRR, NPV negative. Then take it, let it go, break even. Just so we can either look at IRR positive, good one, because it's bringing money to the firm, and if it's we can also look at the IRR. If it's IRR, then it's different. IR would be the cost of capital, the high-risk cost of capital the firm could consider. So you see, all you need to do, but this is IRR. We start from year zero's cash flow. You just type IRR and all the cash flows from year 0 to the last one. It's not internal rate of revenue, internal rate of return, IRR, yeah. So the payback period is just easy to explain. Like for example, you have a partner and the partner wants to know, okay, it cost me $20,000, but when can I get my money back? So you can just tell them, okay, hold on, payback period is how much? You can just simply by doing some algebra, like $20,000 is the cost. You make $8,000. Let's use it to pay back the debt, the loan of $20,000. How much is the loan? How much is the debt after the first payment? Right? And then you keep on just going to another year. So negative $8,000 after the second year, negative $5,000 until you're debt free. So payback period should be 4 years. So there's no Excel function, but the payback period should be 4 years in this case. So all you need to do is just to calculate how much, and after the next year, how much you still owe until like you are debt free. So it's 4 years. So you see, if you use the calculator, and we got the same answer. Payback is 4. IRR, so for this class, all we need to do is just to calculate NPV, IRR, and payback period. You can use this calculator. Make sure that the year zero's cash flow has to be negative. But if you use Excel, and it's the same way. Also, I posted in the class website, also, you see a bunch of them because I was spending some time on this. This one is even better. This one, it has NPV/IRR payback, and it also has MIR, modified internal rate of return, and discount payback. But for this class, we don't need it. It's the same thing. You put down the cash flow and the cost of capital, and then click on the calculate. I made this one, so I don't have any copyright problem. But the other one, this one was done by another guy, so I have his website here. But this one has no problem. Alright, so it's quite easy, right? So the rule for payback period, if for example your partner want you to pay back his money in 3 years, but you told him no, it take me 4 years, so your partner will turn this offer down, right? So payback period is depending on like what is agreed beforehand. Okay, so do you have any questions? I also had this one. This one, if you want to do Excel, so I had, because I was teaching another class, they want to get the discount payback, so I create the Excel first, because they want to see the command. So it's the same thing. I made this one is quite simple. So what you can do is, for example, in our case, so input is here, NPV rate is 10%, cash flow is See, so for this one, it has more results. So it tells you how much is the MPV, how much is IRR, and modified IRR. It's just more realistic and also it has PI, profitable index. MPV is the difference between the cost, the profit and the cost. PI is a ratio. PI just says the profits is 1.12 times of the cost. So PI, and also it has a discount payback. The discount payback will consider not only the cash flow but also the cost of capital, the discount rate. So the cost of the discount rate, the discount payback will use discounted cash flow instead. So it's just more complicated. So you can try Excel. But for our class, all we need is just MPV, IRR, and payback period. But if you take my MBA class, and we're having more fun. We're just asking you to calculate based on more approaches. You need to know what you need to know is just how to calculate, how to find the answers of these, and also how to explain your answers, like MPV positive and good project, MPV negative, it's a bad project. IRR, if the rate is higher than IRR, it's a bad project. IRR, so you can be able just to explain your results. That's a requirement. So this chapter is really not that difficult. So I had over here the syntax. Yeah, you can watch it. Okay, so I had here how to use Excel to calculate MPV, IRR, and MIR, and you can watch it on YouTube. So it's pretty easy, right? Now let's try the second question in single project and see how much. So got it? It's quite easy, right? So how to explain your results? How much is the MPV you got?
764.
764. Colleen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you get the same answer? Sophie?
I haven't finished it yet.
Okay. Yeah, the final will be non-cumulative. So it will be after. It will be chapter 7, 8, 9, 10, and also the chapter 3 cash flow statement. So you guys like finance and want to switch to a finance major? No? So we have one from our major.
Well, someone else is a finance major too.
Andrew, she's finance major and international business major. In fact, all the like, for example, if you know like how to calculate like for finance, you know the procedures and math equations, how to do that. There's actually always a calculators for you to use. Even very complicated option pricing, the math equation is horrible, but there's always because in finance you want to be fast. You want to be the first one, so you want to create a calculator and then use it over and over.
Yeah, Wells Fargo, they have
Wells-
a whole
That's right.
does all of this.
It's all this calculated, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Only
they
to-
don't have, like you said, they don't have time to.
You don't have time to sit down, and then you will make mistakes. Yeah, you will make with calculators, you won't. But it doesn't make you dumb, right? Because you understand where does it come from, and you understand like what does it mean, right? So don't be scared. My point is, don't be scared of like majoring in finance. You think the math part is so hard. Intuition is more important as a finance person. Tristan, do you agree with me?
Sorry?
Intuition is more important as a finance person. We're showing invest the money, and instead of like how much, like you know a lot of math model, but you don't have the guts, you don't have the intuition. That won't help you.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. I
Yeah.
talked to you need to kind of know what you're looking at more because they don't really require you to know a whole bunch.
The math
They
equation.
have stuff to do that already. You need to be able to make decisions based off. of-
Based on the models.
Yeah. So
That's
more
right.
important than actually.
Yeah, so don't be scared of like taking like finance jobs. It's not. So got it, Sophie? Did you get it? Okay. So how much is the payback you got for this question?
I closed it down.
Oh, okay. 2.85. That's you all got it. So I'm not going to show that on the in my computer because it's initially it has to be negative. Make sure it's negative. If you use calculators, don't put the comma in between. Okay, so so what is your decision? Shall you take this project or not? The MPV is positive 700 something, right? So it's good. Cost of capital, how much is your IR? 15 point. Yeah, so the cost of required rate of return is 15%. It's lower than IR, so it's good. Payback, it doesn't tell you what is the requirement, but it's okay. Yeah. Now it's getting more difficult because we are considering two projects at the same time. So like you have a project near JU, one project near UNF. So which one? Whichever has a